Agnes Robertson is a Scottish National Party MP. He wants to further examine this issue in the British Parliament, and let's now hear what he has to say about this. Mr. Robertson, welcome to RT. It's good to have you with us. So what steps do you want to see happen to ensure this matter is investigated further?
Well, we now have the British government, as your previous report has explained. The British government has given an explanation that an export licence was granted for the export of chemicals that were supposedly bound for a company based in Syria that was involved in manufacturing processes that would require chemicals like that. I'm still concerned, however, because of course the export licenses were issued at a time when the situation in Syria had already deteriorated. And this issue has just been raised in the House of Parliament, which your viewers will be able to see behind me, during defence questions, where defence ministers had to explain why it was that the UK would even consider granting an export licence. And there's also a parallel development to this, which is that ministers are having to acknowledge that the UK trained senior Assad military officers in the UK over a number of years. Now, both of these cases show to me an utter inconsistency on the basis of decisions that have been taken here in London. I think it's quite right to draw attention to the appalling record of the Assad government. However, UK government decisions over recent years have shown that they have been prepared to work with that government. And I think that, frankly, smacks of hypocrisy.
Right, but we've just seen a statement which the Department for Business Skills and Innovation centres, and they say the recipient proved the chemicals were for civilian use only, not for military use, and licences were revoked when sanctions hit Syria. So probably, how can you comment on that very quickly? Probably there's no problem at all.
Well, I would comment on the fact that the UK rescinded the export licences when the European Union told the UK to do it. So thank goodness for the European Union intervening. Frankly, the problem is that the UK was prepared to grant an export licence in the first place. Now, of course, the UK has form in this sort of thing, being prepared to sell military hardware and other things that can be used for the production of weapons, and in this case chemicals, which could in circumstances be used to produce chemical weapons. And we do have to ask ourselves, don't we, why, with the situation having already deteriorated so badly, that the UK was even prepared to grant an export licence where these chemicals do have the potential dual use, yes, for manufacturing purposes, but also for the production of chemical weapons.
Right, and we don't know who actually received these chemicals, as you say. So could the Syrian rebels have got hold of them and used them to make the sarin gas themselves?
Goodness me, that it's impossible to tell from this distance. But I think in this particular case, I think the UK government has confirmed the circumstances in which the export licence was issued, but have also said that the export itself did not take place. So the chemicals themselves did not make their way to Syria. That is at least what we're being told. I have no reason to doubt that. But I think it is important to get to the bottom of this, and that's why these questions are being asked, and they're being asked from people in different political parties. My party, for what it's worth, is one of those reflecting the great majority of opinion both in Scotland and the rest of the UK, who are deeply sceptical about involving ourselves in the dreadful situation on the ground in Syria and exacerbating the situation. I think we're very focused on wanting to ensure that there should be an initiative that brings all the belligerents to the negotiating table, and in this regard it really is down to all countries that are able to exercise influence on the different sides in the conflict. And of course, the United States and the UK are on that list, but so is Russia and so is Iran. And so I would use this opportunity on Russia today to appeal to all countries that have influence to focus on trying to move things forward on a diplomatic and agreed basis, and also work even harder to try and ameliorate the awful humanitarian catastrophe both in Syria and in the neighbouring countries for so many of the literally hundreds of thousands of displaced people who've had to leave this terrible war.
Sure. All right. Mr. Robertson, thank you very much indeed for clarifying those issues for us. MP Angus Robertson from the Scottish National Party, thank you very much indeed for your time.